Hey everyone, Cap from TCG Break here, bringing you my ban list prediction video for the upcoming January 2022 format. As we approach the new year, I figured I could take a break from our usual deck profiles to offer my insight and opinions on what changes should be made to certain cards within the game in order to balance gameplay overall. And whilst the decks within this format are fairly healthy overall, there are a few problem cards that should be addressed moving into 2022. So with that being said, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with the cards that I believe should be forbidden, I have either Artifact Dagda or the Artifact Scythe, as well as Mystic Mine, and I'm including Predaplant Verte Anaconda as well, more as a possibility than a certainty, as with the Albaz structure deck releasing in April, being a fusion-based archetype, I could see Verte Anaconda remaining in the game for the time being in order to promote this new product in the months to come. In my opinion, one of the largest issues in this current format is the Artifact Scythe, as you are able to easily set it to your field via the effect of Artifact Dagda with relative ease, and there are a number of cards that may be integrated within your deck that make destroying the Artifact Scythe very easy, such as the Baronne de Fleur or the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. With this in mind, if you or your opponent are able to take advantage of the effect of Artifact Scythe, it may outright stop the other player's turn, not allowing them to play the game and possibly conceding thereafter. As for Mystic Mine, I believe this card had its time to shine and should be addressed on this list simply because mostly every deck revolves around using their monster effects, so it is very similar to Artifact Scythe, being that it locks your opponent from being able to play the game in certain situations, and overall is not very healthy for the game. Lastly, I have the Verte Anaconda, though again I do not believe it will be banned on this list, as Konami will likely want to promote the new structure deck coming out, heavily utilizing the fusion mechanic, and although it is not absolutely necessary to use Verte Anaconda for that strategy, I believe this card will survive the list, since it recently received a more accessible reprint through the Maximum Gold set, and it also promotes the use of the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, a card which would become far less prevalent if Verte Anaconda was banned, simply because you would have to rely on drawing into the Fusion Destiny. So once again, I believe this card is here to stay for quite some time into the future of the game. A few other cards that I do not have here, but are worth mentioning, are Imperial Order and the Arch-Nemesis Protoss. I personally do not believe that Imperial Order will be banned on this list, but I could see it on future lists, possibly around April or May, in order to promote the Albaz Fusion structure deck. And although Imperial Order is a fairly unfair card, it is balanced in the way that you have to pay life points each standby phase, and many of the meta decks certainly have ways to play around this card, but let us know in the comments below your opinion on Imperial Order as to whether it should remain limited or be forbidden. As for the Arch-Nemesis Protoss, this is a fairly powerful card used within the SwordSoul strategy, and I have this card as a possibility to be banned instead of a certainty in my opinion, simply because SwordSoul is a rather new archetype, and I don't foresee Konami hitting the strategy quite yet, or at least this part of the strategy, as most people only play one copy, since it is searchable off of the SwordSoul Emergence if you control a Synchro monster, as well as the Heavenly Dragon Circle. Moving on to the limited section, I'll start with the Tri-Brigade deck, simply because it is a very prevalent deck in our current format, and is able to put up quite daunting boards that your opponent is often unable to play through. I could see either the Tri-Brigade Fractal or Tri-Brigade Nerval being limited to 1, and though pure Tri-Brigade has become less prevalent overall due to Lyraless Tri-Brigade being far more dominant, I could also see either Tri-Brigade Revolt or Tri-Brigade Shureg being limited to 1, though I've also included the Lyraless Recital Starling into this as well, if Konami was looking to limit the plays of Lyralist Tri-Brigade builds. I personally believe that either hitting Tri-Brigade Fractal or Nerval to 1 is likely the best choice, as it limits the deck's capabilities in the grind game and forces those playing the deck to be more conservative with their resources, especially if Nerval were to be limited to 1 within the Lyralist Tri-Brigade strategy. Since it is a level 1 wing beast, you are able to use it for your Lyralisk Xyz plays, so Nerval in this case is my personal pick to go to 1. With that being said, if they were not to hit either the Fractal or Nerval, I could see Tri-Brigade Revolt and or Shureg going to 1, as this would limit the deck's ability to continuously special summon the Shureg in order to utilize its effect to banish a card on the field. Lastly, I have added the Recital Starling as a possibility, because having the card at 1 would limit a player's ability to bring out multiple within a turn, since its effect to add from the deck to the hand is a soft once per turn, once again ensuring that the Tri-Brigade Lyralisk players have to be a little bit more conservative with their resources overall. If the Tri-Brigade strategy would happen to be hit on this next list, I believe it's only fair for Drytron to also receive some sort of limitation, being that of either Drytron Alpha to 1 or Drytron Nova to 1. I have also included Magical Meltdown, as I believe the Invoked engine has had more than enough time within this game, and I've also included the Tenyi Spirit Ashuna to possibly slow down the SwordSoul deck overall. I have Drytron Alpha and Drytron Nova on this list of possible limitations, as by limiting Alpha, you effectively limit the Drytron player's ability to search out a card such as the Cyber Angel Benten, and limiting Drytron Nova would also ensure that the Drytron players have to be a little bit more resourceful should a card such as Alpha also be limited. It is also worth mentioning that both Drytron Nova and Drytron Alpha did not receive reprints in the 2021 Megatins, while pretty much all of the other Drytron cards received some form of rarity upgrade, so it is possible either of these cards may be limited, though Konami may have felt that these cards did not need any sort of rarity upgrade. I've also included Magical Meltdown, as the Invoked strategy has had over 4 years of use, with pretty much no limitations throughout that time, and I think Konami will want the Albaz structure deck to be at the forefront for fusion strategies, so by limiting the Magical Meltdown, this ensures that players may focus on newer fusion strategies, such as Branded Despia, effectively selling more product, and introducing new life within the metagame. Lastly, I have Tenyi Spirit Ashuna, also as a possibility limited to 1, as it is a slightly indirect hit to the SwordSoul strategy, limiting the Tenyi SwordSoul consistency without impacting SwordSoul through any of the newly released cards. Moving on to the unlimited section, I have the Performapal Skull Crobat Joker going from semi-limited to unlimited, as well as the Danger Nessie, though they may also consider Emergency Teleport coming from 2 to 3 as well. There is not too much to say about these changes, rather they are natural progressions of moving cards that were once banned or limited back to the unlimited status, as 3 Skull Crobat Joker will improve the consistency of the Pendulum Magician strategy, and Danger Nessie to 3 should not have any major impact on the meta, as the only deck playing a Danger package would be Phantom Knights, which in most cases only use the Jackalope and Tsuchinoko since they are level 3. Of course, it wouldn't be a banlist prediction video if we didn't ask the question, will Maxx come to 3? With the release of Crossout Designator in the TCG, we see that the card has not performed as well as in the OCG, and this may primarily be attributed to Maxx being at 3 within the OCG, so I could see Maxx coming back to 3 to try to further promote the Crossout Designator, though in my opinion, the prospective advantage that Maxx is able to gain for draw power in your plays thereafter does not necessarily constitute bringing it back to 3, simply because Crossout Designator underperformed within the TCG. But with that being said, feel free to let us know of your opinions of Maxx in the comments below, as I stand with the opinion that Maxx should either remain forbidden or immediately come to 3. Moving on to my personal picks, serving as a wish list for this Forbidden and Limited list, I believe Orcust Harp Horror could come back to 1, as well as Sekka's Light from 1 to 3. I personally believe that Heavy Metal Foe's Electromite could still come back to 1, even with the new Beyond the Pendulum card recently revealed. To further promote the aforementioned Pendulum support, I believe Servant of Endymion could come back to 2, though if either of the prior two choices would increase to 1 or 2 respectively, I could see Selene, Queen of the Master Magicians, being limited to 1 as a sort of precautionary measure to ensure that Pendulum players are not able to abuse the ability to bring out Selene multiple times within a turn in an attempt to build their unbreakable boards. As for Orcust Harp Horror, the Orcust strategy has not seen much play since its ban, and I believe the deck could use the same treatment as a deck like Salamangrate by bringing back Harp Horror, just like they brought back the Mirage Stalio, to boost the deck's overall consistency without making the strategy too powerful that it would compete with any of the new products being released in the coming year. Additionally, I believe Sekka's Light can come back to 3, as it is a very powerful card, but it comes with its own limitation that is fairly balanced, being that you can only activate Sekka's Light for the rest of the duel after it is activated, and I believe this inspired a certain type of deck building, revitalizing strategies such as Burning Abyss, and I do not believe that this would be included in any of the current meta strategies as to unbalance the game. So to round this video out, I will recap my personal choices for the upcoming January 2022 Forbidden and Limited list. Starting with those that should be forbidden, I have either the Artifact Dagda or the Artifact Scythe, as well as Mystic Mine. This also shows possible additions to the banned section, such as Imperial Order, Arch Nemesis Protoss, and Predaplant Verte Anaconda. Moving on to the limited section, I have either Tri-Brigade Fractal or Tri-Brigade Nerval to 1. Similarly, I have Drytron Alpha or Drytron Nova to 1 as well. This also includes Magical Meltdown to 1, and possible additions such as Tri-Brigade Revolt, Tri-Brigade Shureg, or the Lyrilisk Recital Starling, as well as Tenyi Spirit Ashuna. As for the unlimited section, I have Performa Pal Skull Crobat Joker, Danger Nessie to 3 as well, and possibly the Emergency Teleport. As for my personal picks, I believe Electromite could come back to 1, Orcust Harp Horror could also come back to 1, I would like to see Servant of Endymion come to 2, as well as Sekka's Light be unlimited. Lastly, we must ask the question, should Maxx C stay forbidden, or should it come to 3? I'll leave the last one up to you. Let us know in the comments below. So with that being said, that's all I have for this video. As always, if you enjoyed and would like to see more like it, feel free to give us a like and subscribe. Feel free to leave any suggestions regarding changes you would make to this list in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, until the next one, have a nice day.